So it is about that time of year that you are probably making all your New Year's resolutions. You're probably in that mindset where you're ready to go all in on your goals. You're probably swearing that this year is going to be different, that this is the year you're actually going to change things. You are also probably being fed a lot of social media content that is telling you how to get to your goals in 2026. It can be very overwhelming, I know, because I've been overwhelmed by it all too. If you can relate to that and you want 2026 to be the last year that you start and stop your fitness journey, then this video is for you. So before we start, I'm just gonna give you a little backstory. My name is Kia. I've been a coach for the past 4 years. And in that time, I've helped hundreds of women and also a few men change their bodies, their lifestyles, and their minds. I grew up playing sports. I kind of got into fitness because of that, but I don't necessarily say that I started an actual fitness journey until 2020, and I say that because that is when I started studying for my personal training certification, and I kind of got to understand actually what it takes to get to your goals and the science behind it. In those 5 years, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've done things very wrong. I've wasted a lot of time, and I don't want you to do the same thing. You probably feel like there's so much on the internet now telling you how to change your whole life, how to change your body, and it's hard to know what to believe. So today I'm gonna break down step by step the exact process that I use to coach all my clients and also to coach myself, so that you can create a plan for yourself that you can actually stick to in 2026. So first of all, these steps are gonna sound very basic. They're gonna sound very simple, which they are, but they are not easy. I think we all tell ourselves that we don't have what it takes, we don't have what we need to get started, and it's just all these reasons as to why we can't do it, just so that we can justify putting it off. And also, anyone in the fitness industry who is trying to sell you a magic plan, a magic program, a magic supplement, if they're saying that this is the one diet that you need, or this is the thing that's gonna work for everyone, that is a red flag. Please, please just know that. If you have to kind of like be your own BS detector with the fitness industry, and there isn't just one thing that everybody needs to change to get to their goals. 1, we all have different bodies. 2, we all have different lifestyles. 3, we all have different goals. So it makes sense that there's not one thing that's gonna work for everyone. Okay, so now that we have the red flags out of the way, we're gonna start with step 1. Step 1 is gonna be to set your baseline. So I used to always go into my goals head first and thinking that I had to change everything at once. And the one thing that set me up for failure from the start is that I would always be so motivated to become this new person and to like just chase my potential that I was just trying to erase the person that I was before and like erase my past. And I never fully confronted it and took responsibility for it. Once I actually did that, it made the biggest change because I finally was able to say, I have all the power. The reason that it's so important that we just take full responsibility and we actually confront our present and who we are right now is because when you don't do that and you kind of just are like looking toward the future and trying to erase your past, you still give power to everything else around you that got you to that point. So to give you an example, this is kind of what it would look like. You say that you're ready to change, you know your goals, you know what you want to do, and you're like excited, looking toward the future. You make the plan, you're ready, you get started, you're doing well, you have momentum, you know, you're very motivated, but then something comes up like a party or peer pressure or stress from work, and you end up giving in, and then you end up spiraling back into your old habits, and then you say you'll start next week. And all that cycle is doing is just stacking up more and more proof that you cannot do it, that you're not capable of doing it. And then what we also do is we just blame the people around us, or we blame whatever that external circumstance is that made us make the decision. So what do we do about it is we set our baseline from the start and we take full responsibility from the start. So that way when you get to those times where you are very tempted or where you feel yourself spiraling back into your old habits, you can remember, like, no, I don't have to listen to the people around me. I don't have to give into my environment. I don't have to give into these things that I would have given into before. And this is not a perfect process. This is not an easy process. This process might be emotional for some people. It might take a lot more time, but it's very, very important that we do it. For step 1, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna sit down and we are gonna write out our baseline. And it can be in your notes app, it can be in your journal, whatever it is. But I really want you to be honest with yourself, and I want you to confront it. It might be uncomfortable, it might feel shameful, it might feel, you know, like all these emotions, these negative emotions, because obviously if you're trying to change things, you probably don't like where you are right now to some extent. And that's the point, is that you have to confront it and you have to understand that like it was all your decisions that took you here. And it's also gonna be all your decisions that's gonna get you out of it. So what this might look like is you can put in your progress pictures, you can put in your initial weight, just a blurb of like how you felt going into the gym for the first time, what weights you were lifting in the beginning. These are all ways that we can track, one, where you're starting, but also along the line, you can look back and see how much you've progressed. Whenever there's a time where you feel yourself starting to give into your environment or give into all of these temptations around you or peer pressure or coworkers or whatever it is, anytime you're in that situation, I want you to remember this conversation. I want you to remember me telling you this. You're gonna remember that you have the control. You don't have to give in to anything that you know is gonna take you further away from your goals or that is gonna lead you spiraling back into these old habits. Step number 2 is we are gonna set our outcome goals and our output goals. And I also am going to teach you the difference between the two. Because so many people, when we're setting our New Year's resolutions and we're saying what we want by the end of 2026, we're thinking about outcome goals. We're thinking about how we want to look, how we want to feel, these vision board things, which are great. But the thing is that we don't necessarily have complete control over the outcome. You know that it can happen, you know you can make it happen, but you can't control when it happens. So the thing we're gonna focus on is gonna be the output goals, which are things that it's gonna take for you to get to your outcome goals. So for example, if your outcome goal is you want to have visible abs, you want to fit into a whatever size dress, then you probably know that you're gonna have to train, you're gonna have to change something about your diet, you're gonna have to probably focus on your sleep a little bit more. You're gonna have to focus on your stress. Those are all output goals because we have direct control over that. So what we're gonna do for step 2 is we're gonna sit down and we're gonna write out your outcome goals. We're gonna think best case scenario, what's your dream? What's the thing that you wanna get done by 2026? By the end of 2026. And we're also gonna write all the corresponding output goals that it's gonna take to get there. So let's go back to our example about wanting visible abs and wanting to fit a certain size dress. Like if that is your outcome goal, then the output goal is gonna be, I'm gonna go to the gym times a week, meal prep every single Sunday, try and get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every day. We're not just gonna stop there. We're actually gonna take those output goals and we are gonna schedule it. Literally take out your calendar, whatever you use to schedule your weeks. If you don't schedule your weeks, then we're gonna have to start doing that now. You're gonna get a calendar because I promise you, once you start scheduling these things out, it's not enough to say like, I'm gonna go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week. It's like, okay, when, where, how like everyone says they don't have time to go to the gym or they don't have time to meal prep, but in reality, it's just, you're not really looking at where you are spending your time and where you can fit it in. I know that was a lot, so coffee break. For step 3, we have our baseline now, we have our outcome goal, we have our output goals. And now what we're gonna do is simplify it because we cannot focus on all of that. Because think of it like this, if you were told that you have to learn Japanese, German, French, Spanish, and Korean all at once, you are probably gonna be super overwhelmed and you're just not even gonna try to do it because you know that it's almost impossible to learn all those 5 different things at once. Same thing goes for your goals. You can't just try and change your nutrition, your sleep, your hydration. You're gonna quit alcohol, you're gonna go to the gym 6 times a week. You can't just change all of those things at once, especially if you're starting from complete zero. What we're gonna do is we're gonna look at Q1 only. So Q1 is gonna be January to March of 2026, and we are only gonna focus on 1 or 2, only 1 or 2 things. Or even if that sounds overwhelming, you can even just choose one. I promise you, if you go all in on just one thing, you're gonna see more results than if you were to try and do all of it at once. So for Q1, we're gonna choose what are the 1 to 2 things that you are gonna focus on when you're gonna schedule out your whole January, February, and March. Schedule when you're going to the gym, if that's the thing you're choosing. Schedule when you're gonna meal prep, if that's the thing you're choosing, what you're gonna meal prep. If sleep is gonna be your priority, then you're gonna choose what am I gonna give up in order to get the amount of sleep that I need to get. Maybe it's scrolling, maybe it's going out, maybe it's watching TV if you usually watch TV at night. These are the things that you need to be specific about that you're willing to give up or you're willing to replace with the new habit or with the thing that is gonna get you to your goal. Now we're getting into the final 2 steps, and these are gonna be the 2 steps that made the biggest change for me personally, and that I also know made the biggest changes for a lot of my clients. So if you're only gonna choose 1 to 2 things from this video, if you're not gonna do all 5 steps, at least try and do 4 and 5. So step 4 is gonna be remove friction. And what I mean by friction, it's gonna be anything in your environment that is making it hard for you to make the decisions that you need to make. You need to either remove it or minimize it or control it in some way. And I know that this part can be kind of hard, especially when you don't have full control over your environment. Like if you have roommates or you have family, whatever it is, I promise it's gonna be worth it. So you just have to find the 1 thing or the 2 things that you can change. So maybe this means removing all the junk food from your house and like not buying it. Maybe it means just not keeping alcohol in the house. Maybe it means having a talk with your family and being like, hey, I'm focusing on this. Y'all don't have to follow me, but I'm doing this and I need you to, you know, not make it hard for me to do this because I'm doing what's best for me. One thing that makes it really hard for people to change is not themselves, it's not knowing what to do, it's not having a plan or not having the best plan. It's usually the environment that makes it very, very hard for you to get to your goals. So for this step, what we're gonna do is you are gonna choose 1 to 2 things in your environment that you are gonna change this month, and I need you to try and do 1 of them today. Just rip the Band-Aid off, just do it. Do the easiest one. Like if the easiest thing is to just throw away all your junk food that's in your cabinet, then go do that. Maybe it means deleting your food delivery app. Maybe it means texting your friends and being like, hey, I'm not going out with y'all anymore. Let's go to the gym instead to hang out, or let's go for a walk to hang out. So finally, step 5. I know I probably lost like 90% of you by now, but if you were part of that 10% that stuck around, then this is the 1 step that I need you to do because it will get you to your goals. It will change your life. And this is the 1 step that changed my life, is you need to assess and keep going. So with me, I used to always think that my plan was wrong, or think that I needed to change my plan, or think I needed to add something, and that's why it wasn't working. But in reality, it wasn't that. It was just I didn't stick to the plan long enough for it to even work. And most of the time what happens is that we just lose interest and we lose that motivation that we had in the beginning, and we just get bored and we think that something's not working, when in reality, you just have to keep going. Usually the progress is right on the other side of when you would usually stop. So our step for step 5 is gonna be, you're gonna go through this video, you've made your plan, right? You have your baseline, you have all your goals, you have your output goals, you've scheduled them out, you know what you're focusing on for the first 3 months of the year, and now all you gotta do is keep going. I need you to complete these 3 months, complete the plan, don't change it, stick to it. So at the end of every week, you're just gonna assess, okay? So this could be actually writing it down, or it can also be just thinking about it. Look back at your week, think about the things that worked, think about the things that made it hard, think about the things you could do better. And from that, you're gonna be able to adapt every single week and get better every single week. So just to backtrack, we have step 1, set your baseline and confront it and actually, you know, take responsibility for that shit. Step 2, you are going to set your outcome goals and your output goals. Step 3, you're gonna choose only 1 to 2 of those things to focus on for January, February, and March, and you're gonna schedule out all of them. Step 4, you're gonna remove friction. You're gonna choose 1 to 2 things in your environment that you gotta let go of, that you gotta minimize. And then step 5, you're gonna assess every single week, and you are just gonna keep going for the first 3 months of the year. And I promise you, at the end of March, you are going to find yourself a lot further than you normally would have, and that is gonna create the momentum that you need to keep going throughout the end of the year. The thing is, at the end of March, you're not gonna stop. You are gonna go through this whole video again. You're gonna do the same exact thing that you did, but 1 through step 5, and you're gonna choose 2 more goals. You have a plan, you have the specifics, you have how you're gonna get to your goal, what your goals are, and now all you really have to do is get yourself to do it, which is normally the hardest part, but that's the thing that only you have control over. So if you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you put a comment down below letting me know. Give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more of this, because I am going to be more consistent. I have a few videos planned out, and I'm also still getting used to this talking to the camera thing. So if you stayed this far, I appreciate you so much. I'll see you in the next one.